Yuki is not your average isekai protagonist. In fact, this guy is a menace as he gets reincarnated as a demon in another world. Using his insane cheat ability, Yuki defeats the hero's party time and again until one day, he discovers his love for Cecilia. The power of love convinces Yuki to ally himself with the humans after the defeat of the Demon King, where he spends every day trying to win Cecilia's affection. Wanna know if Cupid approves of their love story? Watch until the end of the video to find out for yourselves. Standing atop the defeated heroes, a villainous minion introduces himself as Yuki the Demon. Yuki was once a human called Segawa Youki, but he acquired cheating skills after his reincarnation. That is why he has become a part of the Demon King's army rather than living as a human. Yuki's appearance makes it evident that he is a demon. Yuki has defeated the hero's party, knowing their objective is to enter the Demon King's castle. He's just a minion of the king, who stops them from entering the castle. Since the heroes require the defeat of the Demon King for world peace, they have to get past lower level bosses like himself. Yuki thinks he should heal the hero's party and send them off. The hero Yuuga lies defeated on the ground. Even after using his holy sword Excalibur, he couldn't dent Yuki, who defeated him in one blow. The second member of the hero's party is the mage Mikana. Mikana is special as she's fond of the hero, but Yuki considers her super annoying, so he destroys her. The third member is the swordsman, Levin, and since Yuki despises the man's looks, he banishes him at the beginning of their battle. Having taken Yuuga and Mikana off guard, Yuki finished the job by defeating them in one strike. The final member of the hero's party is a cleric called Cecilia. Now, Cecilia got knocked out at the end, but he didn't render her a strong injury, thus she doesn't require healing. Yuki witnessed Cecilia's beautiful body and realized he was head over heels for the girl. Yuki wonders if he should take her as a prisoner since he'd win each time they fought. Yuki is in a pinch and tells his underlings to take the hero's party as prisoners. 3 days pass by and the persistent party has returned once more. Yuki shows off his cool villain pose because he's got drip and charisma. Yuki sets his eyes on Cecilia as he dodges the hero's party's attacks. Yuki treats them like toys and finds himself distracted each time he looks at Cecilia. Once again, he used his ultimate dark magic attack and easily defeated the party. Cecilia is the only one in the group with no injuries. Yuki thinks that she put up a barrier in time. He does the same thing again by healing the party and tossing the heroes into the nearby forest. An entire month passed in the same way. The heroes showed up to eat L after L after L. This makes the rest of the demons believe the heroes are trash. However, the reality is different. It's actually Yuki who is overpowered, as he's even stronger than the Demon King. He wonders if he should let them advance in their next battle because of the girl alone. On their next attempt, Yuuga and Mikana are there to defeat the petulant demon. Yuki doesn't care about the rest of them and finds Cecilia to be the most adorable. Once more, he shows off his epic flair by posing like a damn Walmart villain. Their battle begins with Yuki reflecting that they'll never get past him because of his cheating skill. The heroes are growing weaker instead of stronger. Yuki straight up tells them that they'll never win against his powers. Yuuga acts like the typical manga protagonist who wants to win for the sake of the world. Yuki tells him he wants the girl straight up in exchange for letting them through. This demand shocks all four of them. Yuuga objects strongly because, once again, he's a hero who cares about the power of friendship. Mikana, on the other hand, is a selfish dog ready to leave Cecilia behind so they can advance ahead. In their eyes, Yuki is considered an advanced level threat, and Mikana claims the world is more important than one teammate. Yuuga is still uneasy, but Mikana claims Cecilia will hang around until they defeat the main demon and return to kill Yuki. The rest of the heroes' party concludes with the decision to leave Cecilia behind. Yuki is rather amused and lets them pass through the door. Yuki's heart is pounding like a V12 engine. Cecilia still tries to engage in a fight, vowing to stand her ground no matter what. Yuki clarifies that he's not interested in fighting and denies wanting to torture and kill her. Yuki goes all Sigma and confesses his love for Cecilia, making her flustered like hell. Cecilia politely declines, and the thunderous rejection deals Yuki more damage than anything the hero's party has done to him this far. Yuki thinks he should off himself, while Cecilia questions why he refuses to fight back. Yuki tells her that he is no longer motivated to live because of the rejection. Yuki explains that he's been stuck in the mini-boss room for his entire life, with his only purpose being to attack humans. Cecilia is stunned, claiming that she's never met a demon this horny. Yuki explains that he was once a human before reincarnation. He introduces himself properly and how he died in an accident. Cecilia regrets that Yuki isn't on their side since he's supposed to be a human. Yuki tells her they would never believe in his words as he's a demon. Cecilia questions why he isn't killing the Demon King on his own. Yuki tells her that if he does that, he'll be stuck with the king's position, making his life even worse than it has been. Now that he's confessed his heart to the girl he loves, Yuki believes the heroes will easily defeat the Demon King, meaning all will be well. Cecilia tries to talk some sense into him, emphasizing how powerful he is and how much strength he could become for humanity. With that thought in mind, Cecilia extends her hand, wishing to take Yuki to the outside world. That very same day, the defeat of the Demon King roared in the world, making it more peaceful than ever. In the royal capital Minerva, the world finally celebrates the downfall of the Demon King. The people enjoy themselves at the parade, while Yuki stands in the Adventurer Guild of Minerva. The day Cecilia persuaded Yuki, he ran away from his castle and followed the map to arrive in the capital. The rest of the heroes were under the impression that he was defeated. Yuki in the Adventurer Guild requests to sign up. The receptionist, Kramen, is surprised anyone arrived to sign up, especially on such a special day. Kramen explains that the rest of the staff are enjoying their day off. Kramen finds the registration form and tells Yuki to fill it up. With everything filled, Kramen hands him the guild card. He advises him not to lose it, since he doesn't want to be bothered by his 9 to 5. Yuki is under the impression that the guild staff hates working here. Kramen advises him to do his best. Yuki ended up ignoring the man's complaints and took on as many quests as he possibly could. Kramen found the guy annoying since he gave him more work to deal with. Yuki is bent on earning more money through the quests to maintain a decent life. Yuki desires to confess his heart's true feelings again to win Cecilia's heart. A week passed since he joined the guild. Yuki was promoted to rank D because of how hard he worked. Kramen, the angry receptionist, told him to go to the pretty lady for the quest processing. However, Yuki prefers to have Kramen as his receptionist now. Kramen is frustrated with the guy because he gives him more work to deal with. Since the rest of the staff members are available, Kramen gets annoyed because Yuki only asks him to handle the quest. Even though he whines a lot, Kramen takes care of the task properly. Suddenly, Yuki spots a girl with whom he's all too familiar. It's actually Cecilia, who shocks Kramen with her presence. Cecilia apologizes to Yuki as she had wanted to meet him sooner, but was busy with the celebrations. Yuki is surprised that she found him fast. Cecilia herself is shocked at how easily he could be found. Cecilia thinks it is concerning that Yuki hasn't even changed his identity in the slightest. Yuki tells her that he changed his appearance by taking apart his demonic self. Yuki arrives at Cecilia's huge mansion. Yuki is immediately seized by the guards as they think of him as a dangerous intruder. Yuki remembers that it's no different from when he left the guild. The people were hostile towards him. Cecilia begged her people to lower their weapons by introducing Yuki as a friend. Cecilia personally requested Yuki to leave the guild, surprising him immensely. Yuki didn't expect the conversation to take a turn in such a manner. Cecilia tried to explain that although the Demon King was inevitably defeated by the heroes, the demons still terrorized the world. Yuki acknowledges her concerns. Even though the demons no longer possess a chain of command, they're still threatening ordinary humans. Not only that, but since the Demon King is no more, greater conflicts may occur in different countries. The Garrus Empire has already begun preparing weapons. The movement to recruit talented people has begun in the Clarion's kingdom. Yuga the hero has already been approached by countless noble families because he's just that guy. Cecilia explains that the other members of the party have received similar treatment. Yuki stands apprehensive of Cecilia because he's jealous she got the same requests. Cecilia declined the requests, making Yuki very happy. Cecilia tells him that in the event he becomes famous, he'll be recruited by other nations. Cecilia extends the offer that she wants Yuki to work for her in private. Yuki questions if Cecilia is capable of paying him a hefty salary. Cecilia knows that he's basically an S-rank adventurer, so he's in pretty high demand. Cecilia shifts Yuki's focus to herself and hints that she can be the reward for him. Yuki realizes what's going on and immediately stops her at once. Yuki states that he wants his love to be fulfilled, but in a different way. Yuki reminds Cecilia that he has a cheating ability and that he won't be seduced by anyone except her. His goofy little pose makes Cecilia laugh her heart out. Yuki is embarrassed because he said weird things in the end. Cecilia is now fully convinced he used to be a human in his previous life. Cecilia tells him that she has some work to do and that she'll meet him again soon. For his final request, Yuki asks if he can call her by her name. Cecilia happily accepts with a smile on her face, making Yuki very happy. After making a promise to meet her again, Yuki went home and enjoyed hugging his pillow. The next day is all sunshine and rainbows for him because of the girl he loves. That is until Yuki is stopped by the gatekeepers, since Cecilia is having a meeting with the hero Yuuga. Yuki is annoyed, but can't do much. He decides to explore the town in the meantime. Exploring the town, Yuki comes across a strange crowd. He sees the silent swordsman and wonders where he has seen him before. Yuki notes that the man seems troubled by his facial expression. Yuki tries helping Levin by diverting the crowd using the hero's name. The crowd vanishes in an instant in pursuit of Yuuga. Yuki thinks of them as dumb idiots and tells Levin to run as this is the one chance he'll get. Yuki is about to go off on his own when Levin stops him. Yuki is surprised to hear his anime-like voice. Yuki realizes that Levin refuses to speak because of his voice. He consoles him by saying it isn't really his fault. Levin is surprised by his kindness because most people laugh at his voice. Yuki claims that he has no interest in laughing at him for his voice. Levin is glad to hear those words. Yuki is about to leave when Levin stops him and requests to become his friend. Yuki is startled at first, but Levin clarifies that he doesn't really know many people who don't ridicule his voice. Yuki reflects that it will be a good thing to befriend Levin, and that the two of them will become acquainted with each other well. In fact, after 20 years of his reincarnation, Yuki made a friend out of someone for the first time. Back at the Adventurers Guild, Yuki is peeved by the sudden appearance of a woman who looks like Cecilia. The woman is revealed to be Cecilia's mother, and it just so happens that Cecilia has already been briefed about Yuki to Aquarian. A startled Yuki chugs his meal in nervousness because, he's basically just setting terms for marriage at this point. Yuki questions the purpose of the conversation. Aquarian mentions how their gatekeepers have been pretty rude to Yuki as of late. She personally came here to apologize on their behalf. Aquarian gets down to business and reveals that she knows Yuki is in love with her daughter. Yuki is embarrassed like hell. Aquarian offers to take the love-struck fool to Cecilia. When they arrive at the mansion, Yuki realizes the guards have been replaced. Aquarian made sure to replace them because they were unnecessarily rude to Yuki. Aquarian's head maid is actually an A-rank adventurer who is taking care of them. Yuki thinks she's quite strong, but Aquarian thinks she's rather sweet to her husband. Aquarian reveals that the maid's husband was injured, and it took him roughly half a year to recover. The maid in question arrives at once. Sophia introduces herself politely, and Yuki thinks of her as a normal girl. Yuki's thoughts are reversed when he hears Sophia give them a beating to remember. Sophia decided to help Yuki around the mansion. Cecilia is shocked to see him in her night suit. Cecilia attacked our boy with a full blast, and unfortunately, he didn't put up any defenses, so it really hurt. Cecilia is annoyed by her mother's antics. Yuki questions why he was taken here at all. Aquarian explains that she watched as the two of them chatted the other day, overhearing just about everything. In fact, she embarrassed him by reminding him of his silly little pose. Aquarian gets down to business and explains that Cecilia has been offered many marriage proposals. Since the marriage is mostly considered political, even the hero Yuuga asks for Cecilia's hand in marriage. Yuki is horrified hearing this news, but it is confirmed that Yuuga has feelings for her. Thankfully, Cecilia has already refused to be the hero, but Yuuga hasn't chosen to give up so easily. Yuki grows annoyed because he thinks Yuuga is a homewrecker trying to steal his lovely waifu. Aquarian is convinced that Yuki loves her daughter immensely for him to be able to admit such things. That is when she firmly asks if Yuki is seriously interested in marrying Cecilia. Cecilia herself is caught off guard by the apparent question. Yuki reflects that this might be a lifetime opportunity. After thinking for a while, Yuki declines, despite the tempting offer. He reveals that Cecilia has rejected him once, and he wants to confess when he carves a stable life for himself. Aquarian reveals that she was testing him, and that he actually passed by saying the right thing. Yuki is offended that he got played. Aquarian tells him that he's welcome to visit anytime he pleases. Yuki took on a quest inside the Orsal Forest. His rank increased to rank C because of his continuous hard work. Having learned that Yuuga is taking an interest in Cecilia, Yuki has become more determined. Yuki is suddenly attacked by a headless creature. The demon is shocked to find his captain. Since Yuki didn't say a word to his subordinates, Duke is pissed that he disappeared out of nowhere. He informs Yuki that Hapines and Shik are equally worried. Yuki discovers Harpy, Hapines, and Pixie Sick in perfect form. They're also his subordinates. Yuki is glad they made it out alive, despite being driven away from the castle. Yuki is asked what happened to his horns and wings. Yuki tells them that he intentionally broke them off. After a pause, all three of them roar into a laugh. They think their captain has finally lost his senses. Yuki doesn't cut around with the bullshit, and boldly states that he confessed to the priestess at the hero's party, and has since claimed himself as a human. All three of his subordinates are utterly shocked. Duke is sad that his captain became a simp after a woman. Yuki tells him that there isn't anything like that, and he is an ordinary human now. He tells them to do as they please, but his subordinates are still supportive of him. Duke and the others are all eager to meet the priestess, with whom their captain fell in love. For this reason, they were even prepared to give up their demonly appearances. Duke tied his helmet to his head, so it didn't just keep falling off, giving everyone a jump scare. Shik looks like a normal boy, while Hapines had to go through rough treatment to have her feathers plucked from her body. It was her decision in the end, so she followed through. Yuki returned to the guild to report the completion of the quest, where he was asked about the friends he brought along. With these seemingly human people, Yuki headed towards the mention of his love. Unfortunately, Hapines ratted him out immediately. Cecilia states that the three revolving around him are supposed to be tied together to Yuki. Yuki questions the validity of her words. Duke wasn't quite like this before. Yuki was rather famous inside the demon castle because he had stepped into the outside world before. Cecilia laughed, hearing their stories. Duke explained that he even tried attacking his captain on behalf of a rumor. The result was simple: he got himself humbled really quickly. The man was his first subordinate back then, so Yuki was already excited. As for the other two, Hapines and Shik are nowhere to be found. Yuki grows worried, realizing they left the room with their shabby disguises. It's actually revealed that they're having fun with Sophia playing dress up. Sophia is surprised to learn that Hapines isn't a new maid, but rather a companion of the boy. Yuki grabbed her by the hand and questioned where Shik had disappeared. At first, he was fearful, but then it proved to be nothing to worry about. Shik was enjoying the comfort of Aquarian, who looked him dead in the eye for the people he brought along. Aquarian explained that she isn't bothered by children, so it's not a big problem. Now that he's let them meet his lover, Yuki is nervous that these three fools are still going to follow him around everywhere. Unfortunately for him, they're actually motivated to do just that. That's how Yuki's life with his former subordinates came to fruition. The following day, Yuki states that Sophia officially hired Hapines to be a maid inside the mansion. She donned her pretty dress and even acted like a proper maid. Aquarian actually invited Yuki over today for a specific purpose. She wants him to go out with Cecilia on a holiday. Aquarian explains that Cecilia hasn't been getting a day to relax because of the sheer number of proposals. She wants him to take her shopping. Yuki realizes how lucky he actually is to get his hands on a parent-approved date. He happily accepts the offer while she tells him they'll prepare the cart. After taking her time, Cecilia dons her beautiful outfit and makes this guy's heart pound faster. In the town, Yuki wonders if he's going to need a better disguise. That's because the rumors of Cecilia walking around with Mr. No Name over here is bound to get the both of them in trouble. Cecilia shoots him a beautiful smile and anticipates a great experience with Yuki. Both of them have fun shopping for clothes. Then, they travel to an accessory shop when two individuals recognize Cecilia off the bat. Unfortunately for these guys, they're the hero Yuuga and Mikana. Mikana shuts the hero's mouth for potentially ruining Cecilia's plan to remain undercover. Yuuga is caught off guard and offers Cecilia to go out together since they're all wearing disguises. Yuki feels disrespected by this offer while Cecilia tries her best to deny them politely. Yuuga offers Yuki to come along as well as they enter the accessory shop. The two of them force their way inside, leaving Mikana and Yuki both on the outside. Mikana is jealous because this was supposed to be her date with Yuuga, while Yuki is jealous for the same reasons. Yuki wonders if they're actually childhood friends and thinks that Mikana's got more users than Facebook, with the type of girl she is. Mikana actually knows that Yuki is taking Cecilia out on a date, and it best serves her because she wants Yuuga to stop pursuing Cecilia forever. Mikana explains that she doesn't expect a man like Yuki. Yuki follows through by entering the accessory shop. Yuki offers to buy Cecilia something, but Yuuga happens to cockblock both of them by stealing Yuki's flow word for word. Yuki realizes that this has turned into an actual competition. Yuki selects a necklace that she really likes. Yuuga, on the other hand, chose an overly fancy object for her sake, which neither of them was fond of. Yuki knows that expensive doesn't necessarily always mean good. Cecilia does try on Yuuga's suggestion, but in a rush, Cecilia's disguise is blown off, and she gets recognized by all of the people inside the accessory shop. Yuuga and Mikana are also recognized. The crowd swarms all of them, thanks to the clustered mess Yuuga created for them. After fleeing from the accessory shop, Yuki recommends that they should all just go home. The following day, Aquarian is beyond pissed to meet Yuki. She tells him that Cecilia grew sick, which prompts Yuki to ask if she's actually okay. Aquarian tells him to calm down and voices that the crowd from yesterday really riled her up. Yuki takes the blame upon himself, realizing that he could have stopped them. Aquarian emphasizes that she isn't scolding him or anything. Rather, she's extremely furious when it comes to the meddling Yuuga. Aquarian classifies yesterday as a disaster, but she's happy that Yuki tried his best to make her happy. Aquarian wants to rely on the boy for anything similar in the future, and even allows him the chance to see Cecilia before his leave. Yuki takes her up on the offer and apologizes to Cecilia privately. Cecilia holds no grudge against her and says that she wants Yuki to make it up on the second date. Yuki is amazed that this man landed his second date and does his goofy little villain pose again. Sophia scolds him for being loud when Cecilia is supposed to be sick. A few days passed by. Cecilia's health continued to improve, and Yuki found himself returning to the guild to do more quests. He spotted Kramen, the receptionist, looking happier than ever. Yuki doesn't really know why this fool is acting in such a way, when all he remembers is his rambling. Yuki thinks about the chances of getting married to his pretty wife, Cecilia. He's lost in the daydream until he hears a peculiar voice. It's Levin, the swordsman with the apparent anime voice. Levin comes to meet Yuki, who then asks Kramen to take a request paired with the swordsman. Kramen assigns them the mission to subjugate a rock dragon, which is a B-rank quest on its own. The two of them rendezvous at the location. Yuki questions if Levin truly wants to go on a quest with him. Levin explains that he just wanted to hang out with his friend, and that he's happy a quest fulfills that purpose. Seeing his face beam with happiness, Yuki offers them dinner after the quest is completed, making it a fulfilling experience for both of them. In the forest, the two adventurers anticipate the rock dragon. Levin tells Yuki that he has an urgent matter to discuss after the completion of the quest, which greatly alarms Yuki. Yuki wants to deal with the monster quickly. The rock dragon is in the mood to slaughter the two humans, not knowing they're both overpowered. Yuki prepares a blast sufficient enough to kill the monster in one go. Using his ability, Storm Blow, he creates an opening for Levin, who capitalizes on the opportunity and slashes the monster in a clean manner. Levin easily defeats the rock dragon, impressing Yuki with his strength. They return to the guild staff to report the completion of the quest. Yuki asks him about the matter he wanted to discuss in private. Levin is a little hesitant and claims that he has fallen in love with a certain someone. Yuki is rather shocked, while Levin explains that his one and only friend is Yuki, so he thinks it is best to reach out. Yuki asks more about this certain someone. Levin explains that the girl refused to make fun of his voice and envied him instead. The poor guy doesn't even have the balls to answer her praises. Yuki notes that he acts like a middle school boy. Yuki reflects that Levin is a well-reputed member of the hero's party, so any girl is bound to respond favorably to his words. Yuki bolsters his resolve and forces his advice upon Levin. He calls him pretty, tall, famous, and all that jazz. Yuki tells him to be confident, with his silly pose again. As weird as that advice is, it manages to get through to Levin's heart. He thanks Yuki for helping him on this important matter and claims to confess tomorrow morning. The following morning, Yuki sees Levin visibly shaking. The man is quaking in his boots for one simple confession. Yuki tries to back him up, but Levin is underconfident. Yuki constantly encouraged the guy until they arrived at Cecilia's mansion. Oh no, big trouble is probably what Yuki is thinking right now. Levin thanks Yuki for getting him here up to this point. He wants to muster the courage to confess to the woman inside. Yuki is losing his crap because he thinks it's Cecilia that Levin is after, and that, after all this time, he's unintentionally blown his own chances instead. When Levin arrives, he comes with a villainous demeanor. Levin tells Yuki that he was rejected in the face of it, despite Yuki's help. Without saying much else, Levin took his leave. Yuki felt sorry for him, realizing it must be his first time having his heart broken by a girl. Since he's already at the mansion, Yuki decides to visit Cecilia on his own. There, he is astonished to learn that Levin didn't talk to Cecilia at all. Cecilia explained the situation, which makes Yuki think that he was trying to confess to one of the maids of the mansion. They consult Sophia for anything regarding the matter. Sophia confirms that Levin came here and talked to one of the maids. What maid, you must be wondering? It's revealed to be Hapines, the newest addition to the maid squad. Yuki double-checked if Hapines saw a really handsome dude confessing to her not long ago. Yuki inquires how the two of them met each other. Hapines refuses to elaborate and goes off on her own. Yuki reports the matter to Cecilia and Duke. Duke tries to shed more light on the Hapines situation by adding his bits and pieces. He points to the fact that harpies are often targeted to be hunted because of their attractiveness. That's why most of them are captured and enslaved for their beautiful feathers. Hapines is the same as when they first met. She was being chased by humans. Duke saved her and gave Hapines a place in the gang. Duke explains that Hapines would never accept a human's confession because of her spoiled experiences with them. Yuki finds it reasonable, but still thinks that Levin didn't do anything wrong. Duke states that Hapines must be jealous of Duke's voice because harpies love to sing. Yuki thinks that now would be a good opportunity to ask for Levin's side of the story. On his way back, he stumbles into Levin's place. There, he finds a defeated and broken man sulking on his bed. Levin apologizes for rudely leaving Yuki like that despite his help. Yuki doesn't mind and motivates Levin not to give up so soon. Levin explains his side of the story regarding how the two of them met each other. Levin saw Hapines being approached by scoundrels. He became her knight in shining armor by defeating the scumbags. After recognizing Levin, the cowards ran away on their own. There, Hapines was enamored to see the handsome man with a particular voice. Levin thought that he messed up by speaking, but she exited the conversation quickly. Hearing his side of the story, Yuki has confirmed that Hapines is the one who grew fond of Levin first. He takes Levin to meet Duke, who explains Hapines' trauma regarding men. Yuki realizes that it's not actually humans that she despises. Rather, Hapines is terrified of being around men. Levin doesn't know if he can remedy any of her fears. Duke is a little underwhelmed and scolds him for not saying something cooler. Levin and Duke nearly dish it out in a battle when Yuki stops them. Levin is advised to approach Hapines like a friend first, instead of jumping the gun immediately. It didn't take long for Duke and Levin to form their own awe-inspiring friendship for the ages. After becoming homies with each other, Levin approaches the maid he loves most. Levin earnestly requests Hapines to become her friend. Hapines is flustered and actually accepted with ease. Mission romance is a fruitful success. Later, it is revealed that Cecilia aided this mission by convincing Hapines by her own side. Levin officially became a member of the Knights by joining the Duke's party, leaving Shik and Yuki to fend for themselves at the inn. The next day, Shik is delighted to share his first carriage riding experience. Cecilia is having fun seeing Yuki's face in a pinch. Their mission is to scout a village called Dagas. Cecilia came along for her own work as a priestess. Shik didn't plan to stay at home on his own, so it became imperative to take him as well. Cecilia finds the two of them rather cute. Entering the ruins of the village Dagas, Yuki wonders if it was attacked by bandits. The village chief is delighted to see Cecilia and begs to help them gather the wounded. Cecilia explains that Yuki and Shik are her friends who came to help her on this mission. The village chief is glad that his village is under the protection of competent people. Yuki sees Cecilia hard at work as she expires her magic powers to heal others. Since Yuki possesses a cheat skill, he's not worried, but Cecilia is at risk of collapse by running out of mana. Yuki recommends that she rest, but Cecilia tells him that she's doing alright. Well, she ends up falling unconscious, proving she is not doing alright at all. Yuki explains to the villagers that the priestess has expired her powers and needs a rest. Yuki and Shik have to handle the rest, while Cecilia recovers on her own. After Cecilia wakes up, she learns that Yuki and Shik have already finished everything. Cecilia shows a face of villainy because she's pissed at Yuki for purposefully putting her to sleep. Yuki tells her that he is aware of Cecilia's habit of exerting herself, and he doesn't want that for her. Cecilia makes a happy face and thanks Yuki with a precious smile, a smile that could floor just about any guy. One of the villagers approaches them and explains that a girl named Teal lives on the outskirts, and they want them to check up on her health. Cecilia requests that they take them to the location. Arriving on the outskirts of the village, Teal questions the identity of the people, knowing they don't belong in her village. Teal coughs, signaling her decaying health. Cecilia explains the situation promptly, while Shik recommends she take medicine. After consuming the herbs, Teal experiences a noticeable change in her body's strength. Shik is glad that she didn't get hurt during the bandit raid. Teal shouts that the guardian deity of the village protected her from harm. Yuki is intrigued, while Teal tells them the guardian deity has become her sole protector ever since her childhood. Teal offered her prayers to the guardian deity, and on the day the bandits attacked, she delivered her offerings the same way. Teal felt a wave of drowsiness and passed out, which allowed her to stay away from the bandits. Shik wonders if what she means is the dark magic called nightmare sleep. Yuki is concerned, because the spell is supposed to give one nightmare instead. Cecilia places her suspicions on the guardian deity, and Yuki wants to investigate the matter. When Teal takes them to the shrine of the guardian deity, they're actually horrified, because this statue is straight up looking like a demon. There is nothing pure about it, yet Teal is giddy up like crazy. Teal is furious and doesn't want them to slander the deity. Yuki tells Shik about his worries, because this statue looks like anything but a deity. The appearance is one thing. The other problem is that it looks like the statues found in the Demon King's castle. Suddenly, the gargoyle breaks free of its state and tries to attack them. Yuki confirms that what they're dealing with is an actual demon. Shik pounces ahead and defeats the gargoyle in a single strike. Having captured the enraged gargoyle, Yuki is looking for answers. The gargoyle apologizes and tells them he heard them talking about the Demon King's castle. He revisits his past a few hundred years back. The demon was born in order to protect a ruin, since he spent most of his time sleeping. Just like the freeloader Yuki, the gargoyle was literally stolen by a bunch of good-for-nothing bandits, looking to make a quick buck. After being stolen, the gargoyle escaped after slaughtering the thieves. Unfortunately, he couldn't return to the original ruin that he was supposed to protect. Instead, he ends up in this village and punishes the bandits repeatedly. He likes to stay in the shrine, as the villagers treat him nicely like a deity. Unfortunately, Teal strongly believed in him as a god who protects all. The little girl came to offer daily. He protected her against the bandits that attacked the village. Yuki is concerned that the gargoyle is a PDF file with his own intentions. The gargoyle clarifies that he's not interested in anything. Instead, he wants to know about Yuki's side of things. The gargoyle laughs when he hears that Yuki fell for a human girl. Yuki questions if he's not going to cause trouble. The gargoyle assures him that he intends to live a chill life in the village. Realizing that the guy is completely harmless, Yuki instructs Shik to return to the village. After returning, Cecilia asks if they found anything noteworthy. As for Teal, she's fast asleep due to her condition. Yuki explains the matter to Cecilia, revealing how the guardian deity in question is a literal demon. They tell her the entire story, while Shik is getting bored and just wants to go home. Yuki suggests that they leave the gargoyle as it is, so that it can protect the village from future threats. Cecilia thinks that it is sound advice, since everyone else will be offered protection. With their mission completed, Yuki walks with his lover under the beautiful moonlight. The view is perfectly romantic for the two of them. The following day, Yuki explains that they'll have to heal the villagers and learn more information regarding the statue. Cecilia rushes to her duty, and a queue of love-struck males is just dying to get themselves her treatment. Yuki is in the mood to kill them all, sensing their bad intentions. Shik is getting the same amount of attention as the chicks. The only people who like Yuki are old boomers. Yuki uses them as the perfect information machine to ask about the guardian deity of the village. They tell him that he's a demon statue in the shrine. Yuki is surprised to learn that everyone is already aware it's a demon statue. Teal worships the statue with diligence. She was attacked by a monster when the gargoyle saved her 7 years ago. Having saved the frail little girl, the gargoyle earned her respect. Even though some of the people don't believe in the gargoyle themselves, Teal always visits the shrine. Shik and Cecilia both tried to ask the villagers, but none of them gained anything substantial. It was Yuki who learned crucial information, as he explained to his team. Cecilia wants to talk to the gargoyle to be certain of the demon's intentions. Yuki places Shik in charge of Teal in the meantime. Yuki takes her to the gargoyle statue, who is furious that Yuki spilled the beans of his existence to the villagers. Cecilia politely greeted the statue and questioned his true intentions. The gargoyle explained that he had no intention of acting on behalf of or against the village. Yuki, at this point, straight up asks if this man is into lolis. The demon doesn't even know the word, and Cecilia is confused. After giving him a 12-page explanation, the gargoyle grows annoyed and tries to clear his name. Cecilia, on the other hand, questions if Yuki is a lolicon instead. The man smoothly responds with his goofy pose, saying that he only likes Cecilia. Teal is the guardian deity's #1 fan, and Shik is finding her insufferable. Yuki states that they'll have to return home early tomorrow, as they leave Shik all alone with Teal. Cecilia wonders if they will be alright, but Yuki thinks it's going to be fine, since Teal is enjoying the company. Yuki instinctively grabs Cecilia's hand and, this time, makes use of the wonderful moment. That night, Yuki hears someone approaching. The village chief barges in, asking for help since the bandits have begun to raid the village in the middle of the night. Yuki is alarmed and sees the villagers defending their homeland against the bandits outside. The villagers are heavily compromised due to their injuries, so Yuki wants to join in on the battle. Shik and Yuki lead the main forces and make light work of the bandits. Cecilia is impressed by Shik's strength. Yuki states that Shik perfectly knows how to maneuver his body to the best of his abilities. Cecilia wishes to aid them as support from behind. Yuki is at a disadvantage since he can't use a large-scale attack. Yuki uses Storm Blow to keep the damage minimum. That's when he spots black smoke coming from Teal's house. Yuki tells Shik he needs to hurry. Yuki takes care of the matter on his front, defeating the rest of the bandits with his powers. He wonders why Shik has yet to return. Yuki can't fathom the thought that Shik actually lost to a bunch of bandits. Sensing that something went wrong, Yuki goes on to explore the matter on his own. When he arrives at the location, Yuki is devastated to discover that the gargoyle has been heavily injured, while Shik is barely clinging on. One warrior stands to oppose Shik and even sends him flying with his attacks. Shik refuses to back down in this battle, but Yuki holds him down. Seeing Shik's aggravated state, Yuki is concerned as to what happened. Shik explains that the gargoyle protected Teal from the bandits until the man took him out from behind. The righteous psychopath thinks that he's only doing his job by killing a monster. Shik grows annoyed to the brink of tears. The man continues to belittle him, forcing Yuki to confront him at once. Yuki is surprised when he sees that his magic is nullified upon contact. Cecilia advises him to retreat since they can't defeat this opponent. Yuki is surprised Cecilia knows about the guy. Cecilia reveals that Mira is the hero of the Garrus Empire, and the blade he wields is dubbed the Magic Eater. Yuki is shocked to learn that there are numerous heroes apart from Yuuga, who is the chosen hero of the Clarion's kingdom. Cecilia claims that the other countries have their own heroes, but they're the only ones who penetrated the Demon King's castle. The magic nullifying sword was created by the same empire and had numerous abilities. It is capable of changing shape. Mira grows tired of their pep talk and states that it is time to end the battle. Yuki attempts to persuade the warrior by telling him of the gargoyle's true intentions. Mira ignores his message because he thinks monsters should only be killed. Cecilia thinks that he doesn't possess the qualities of a righteous hero, not even a bit. Mira thinks she's in over her head since becoming a hero requires that one must slay monsters. Mira happens to be a murderous psychopath who is on the path to slay as many monsters in his way. Teal tries to protect the gargoyle, but Mira is bent on killing the monster. Cecilia accuses him of hurting an innocent citizen of the Clarion's kingdom. Mira reveals that he doesn't care even a bit if the nations erupt into war because of him. He wonders if Cecilia, the priestess, is willing to challenge him. Yuki stops Cecilia and stands in front of Mira's opponent. Yuki knows that Gargoyle is in seriously bad shape, and Teal and Shik are both saddened. Yuki is annoyed that Mira pointed his sword towards his lover. He declares that he will show the hero true hell with his powers. Yuki pours as much magic energy as he can and directs it towards Mira, who thinks of it as a stupid move and absorbs the magic power. Yuki tells him that it was just a teaser of his powers. For real fun, Yuki concentrates a blazing well of magic. Mira reminds him that magic is all but useless against him, and that weapons would fare much better. Yuki doesn't care about his explanation and keeps using magic. Mira grows overconfident, believing that he'll win this battle easily. Yuki protects Cecilia from the attack, and is glad that Cecilia worries about him. Knowing that he will hurt Cecilia by prolonging the fight, Yuki unleashes the brimming might of his magic in an attempt to overload Mira's magic sword. Now that he has compromised Mira into absorbing the power, Yuki rushes ahead and deals a brutal blow, defeating Mira in a single attack. Cecilia is glad that he defeated him and all, but thinks that his goofy pose was a little unnecessary. As for Shik, he's not seriously injured. Cecilia believes that he will be fine. Suddenly, Mira throws his spear in an effort to kill the gargoyle. Teal sacrifices herself by stepping in front of the monster, protecting him in her final moments. The spear pierces through Teal's body. Yuki's expression is one of shock and regret, because he failed to protect the little girl in time. The gargoyle questions why she protected him. Teal offers gratitude to the guardian deity, who always protected him when she was in trouble. Mira stands, and he's surprised that his magic eater sword was overwhelmed and destroyed. Mira unleashes a rain of arrows upon Yuki and his team, allowing himself the chance to escape. Yuki protects Cecilia to the best of his ability, but Mira manages to get away. Yuki thinks that he failed this battle by letting his guard down. Cecilia tells him that he's not the one to blame. Yuki reflects that he has grown reliant on his infinite magic ability, thinking that it would work out in the end. However, far beyond his expectations, the situation turned into tragedy. Yuki asks if the villagers frequent the location. Cecilia tells him that they don't come here so much. In a fit of rage, Yuki unravels his body, growing his demonic horn and wings. He's furious and wants to chase the man responsible. Cecilia is frightened to see this side of him. Yuki looks at her with a soothing smile and assures Cecilia that he won't do too much. Hiding his face with a scarf, Yuki locates the man and descends to finish his business. Mira is shocked to see a full-fledged demon in this location. Yuki pummels his head into the ground, claiming that the hero took away his subordinate gargoyle's body. Yuki acts like a terrifying demon who wants to slaughter Mira 100 times. The arrogant fool tries attacking him in this form, only to get kicked down. Mira coughs blood and questions how a strong demon can survive when the Demon King himself is no more. Yuki, in his demonic state, reflects that he's a cold-blooded demon at present. Mira retaliates with a dagger in an effort to get a gotcha hit. However, Yuki trumps his speed by many miles and easily dismantles Mira's attack. Yuki beats him up before taking him into the skies. The demon doesn't want to kill him by his own hands and humiliates Mira by airdropping the pathetic hero from many feet above. Yuki was merciful enough to toss him into the river that leads to the Garrus Kingdom. He comes back to Cecilia and realizes he has to rip them off by force. A few days passed after the incident. Yuki returned to Cecilia, who was worried and sick about him. She was mainly concerned about his demonic powers. Cecilia is frightened to the point she doesn't want him to use that form again. Yuki assures her that he's a human by her side. They were lucky enough to help Teal recover with healing magic. The gargoyle stayed by the girl's side until the end. Shik is in a bad mood because of how he lost the fight against Mira. Yuki knows that he'll have to ask for help from his other subordinates to help him recover. It had now come time for Yuki's group to leave the village. They visited Teal one last time to discover unholy things. The gargoyle was diligently taking care of Teal, who wanted to jump out of bed, neglecting her health. Teal thinks that she can finally die happy now that her guardian protector has called her by her name. Teal apologizes for the trouble she caused. Teal suddenly requests that she wants to travel to Minerva with the gargoyle. She wants someone to be capable of fixing him in the city. Yuki asks for Cecilia's opinion, who thinks that it's not possible since Teal is injured and it would be quite difficult to bring a demon statue into a city. Hearing that, Yuki comes up with a suggestion of his own. Cecilia finds the process feasible, making Teal very happy. Yuki notes that the demon has a soft spot for Teal. After that, they said goodbye to the other villagers. Yuki was almost disheartened to leave after spending time with them for a while. As for the gargoyle, they gave this guy a do-over so that he actually looks like a statue of worship. Teal was treated with proper medicine and began working at the Aquarian mansion as well. Yuki suggested the statue be on display in the mansion, to which Cecilia's mother strongly objected. In the end, they were forced to separate the gargoyle from Teal. Yuki took him back to the inn to keep for himself. Duke and Hapines confront Yuki, questioning who made Shik cry. Both of them are bloodthirsty for the one responsible. Yuki tries to help calm them down as he's already defeated the culprit responsible and dumped him into a river. Duke and Hapines think of their captain as a softie, as they would have literally drowned this man properly. Yuki thinks that they should be fine for now. Duke and Hapines skipped work just to ask Yuki about Shik's condition. Yuki thinks that Aquarian could help them in this situation since she is fascinated by Shik. Duke has a question to ask as he points to the strange-looking Buddha statue. He calls the statue ugly as hell and wants Yuki to throw away the trash. The gargoyle grows annoyed and reclaims his true form. Duke and Hapines are prepared for battle. Yuki is losing his mind and scolds his subordinates for even thinking of the idea of fighting in his room. Yuki explains the entire story to his subordinates. Duke and Hapines introduce themselves properly to the gargoyle. Since the gargoyle doesn't go by a name, they decided to name him Guy in the meantime. Yuki is glad they're getting along well until they collectively start blaming the captain. Suddenly, Sophia barges in looking for Hapines. She tasks Hapines to train Teal as the new maid. Sophia is infuriated that she's leisurely spending her time, and she drags her away. Before leaving, Sophia tells Yuki that the statue he's keeping around is unacceptable. The doorbell rings, and it's Levin who wants Duke's help to bring down the mountain bandits. Levin is glad to find Yuki and wants to hang out with him. Even he says that Yuki should ditch the damn statue. Yuki is annoyed and decides to whip up a Sphinx statue, wondering if the people of this world really have a different aesthetic taste. He stops by the guild and finds a receptionist that he's unfamiliar with. The receptionist tells him that Kramen is actually the assistant guild master and Yuki's been hammering him with the requests. She tells him that Kramen jokingly told everyone to take a day off when they defeated the Demon King. And once they did, he was piled up with so much work that he managed the guild for 3 days on his own. Yuki asks about Kramen's whereabouts. She doesn't want to tell the others, but ends up telling him anyway. The truth is, Kramen beefed with his wife and got his butt kicked so badly that he got hospitalized. There is a lesson to be learned from Kramen's experience. Yuki visits the guy in his bandaged state. Yuki is curious how this guy managed to step on every nerve of his wife's body. Kramen tells him that he and his wife got into an argument on their anniversary. Even though Kramen remembered the anniversary, he was lazy and didn't get her the gift on time. Kramen ended up looking for a suitable gift until midnight, but when he returned, his wife was already there waiting for him. Kramen makes Yuki jealous by saying his wife is going to take care of his wounds. Yuki draws a blank expression that it isn't something to be bragged about. When Yuki asks for her profession, Kramen reveals that his wife is the head maid of the Aquarian mansion. What do you know? It is actually Sophia, and it is very fitting. Yuki asks how the two of them met each other in the first place. Kramen questions if Yuki is really that interested in his love story. Kramen explains that he was hailed as a genius in his childhood and got a high rank at a young age. The job became all too boring for him until he heard the voice of a woman who approached him. She wanted to form a party with Kramen because of his strength. Kramen is easily accepted because of her beauty. As a result, he got himself really beat. Kramen was shocked that he lost to her in a fight, even though he was drunk. Later, he apologized to her and formed a proper party. The two of them were unstoppable as a duo. They were called the Invincible Languorous Couple, which is quite a mouthful. Kramen didn't want to confess at first, but growing together as one, his feelings began surfacing for her. It was undeniable that he had fallen in love with Sophia. One day, Kramen properly confessed with the perfect proposal. However, he was beaten even after that. That's because Kramen wanted to quit his job as an adventurer, even though she wanted to continue their party. She kept knocking sense into him, but in the end, Kramen managed to convince his hot-headed wife. The gist of it is that they lived happily after their marriage. Just then, Sophia arrives to pick Kramen up after his treatment. She's surprised to see Yuki's presence. Kramen is fond of his wife and gets himself kicked. Sophia shows a soft side to her as she admires her husband. She assists Kramen and bids farewell to Yuki. Yuki found himself really jealous seeing the couple flourish like that. It made him think of Cecilia because he really wanted to see her. The following day, Yuki is dreading thinking of Cecilia. The Sphinx guy tells him that he should just go and visit her if he is so worried. Yuki claims that it's impossible since she is busy and he doesn't want to disturb her whenever. Funnily enough, Yuki gives Guy a do-over and turns him into an aesthetic statue. Just then, Cecilia pops inside his room. Yuki is amazed to see her. Happines has accompanied Cecilia as well. Yuki is glad that his crush came to see him and considers it a beautiful day. Happines checks around and wonders where Yuki left Guy. Yuki points to the defiled statue that he created, while Cecilia and Happines shoot him a face of disgust. Yuki realizes that he has failed once again in the creativity department. He wonders about the purpose of Cecilia's visit. Cecilia tells him that she wants to spend a day out with him. She talks about Schick, who stayed at their mansion for a while. Yuki apologizes for bothering Cecilia so much with his people. Cecilia reveals that Aquarian was able to convince the boy and lighten his expression. She noticed that the boy was acting strange. Yuki reflects that it is purely because Schick has never been defeated before because of his strength. His first L has shaken him on a mental level. Aquarian comforted and consoled him in his sadness. He exhausted himself from his tears, but now he's feeling much better thanks to Aquarian's help. Cecilia thinks highly of her good-willed mother and thinks of her as a role model. Yuki reveals that he was planning to hand him over to Aquarian for good, since she treats him better than his own mother. Yuki has faith in her and switches the topic to his visit to the hospital the other day. Yuki is devastated that someone like Kramen got married while he's struggling. Cecilia states that she heard Sophia picking up her husband, too, even though she's the reason he got hospitalized in the first place. Sophia's expression is completely frightening, as she's smiling more than ever thinking of her husband. Cecilia talks about a love story that her mother told her about. The story was about Sophia's true feelings regarding Kramen. Since she fought in small parties, Sophia didn't get along with just any person. Sophia was heavily criticized for lacking teamwork, and her original party ended up disbanding. For Kramen, however, it was different. He wanted to go on quests together with her, earning Sophia's affection. Cecilia also reveals that Sophia was approached by a number of men. Kramen always came to her rescue and helped her storm out of the location. And when they forced their way on him, Kramen beat them black and blue. That's how they earned the name for their party. At a different bar, Kramen enjoyed his time with Sophia. Throughout this story, Yuki is distraught. Hapines is fast asleep, but Cecilia thinks that they should return home now. Cecilia apologizes for bothering Yuki and invites him to the Clarion's palace. Yuki is baffled by this sudden request, and she leaves without explaining further. A few days later, Yuki and Cecilia were accompanied by Shik as they came to the Clarion's palace. Yuki still doesn't know why they're here in the first place. Yuki is glad that Shik is acting like himself. Cecilia reveals that since they participated in the village, their reports were accepted about everything except one thing. Yuki instantly guesses that the matter is related to Mira, the foreign hero. The mention of his name traumatizes Shik, but he quickly regains control of his emotions. Shik promised Aquarian that he would become strong enough to defeat Mira on his own in their revenge match. Cecilia confirms that the matter is indeed regarding the hero, Mira. Since his activity has riled up the Clarion's kingdom, the people are discussing a possible counterattack against the Garrus kingdom. The reason Yuki was called into question is because he managed to overwhelm the Magic Eater's sword with his powers. Yuki and Cecilia both prepare Shik not to rat out on any information that could be used against them. They arrive inside the palace. The king, Dart's alter Clarions, has been anticipating them. Darts thinks that the heroes shouldn't act so formal. Yuki internalizes that the king is a competent warrior who became battle-hardened from a young age, despite being one of royalty. Shik is already dozing off when the conversation hasn't even begun. The king stated that they should deliver on the topic regarding the village. He claims that there are problems in the report. His first concern is Cecilia's confrontation with the hero Mira. What's worrying is that a C-rank adventurer took part in the battle and endured it for a while. They're talking about Shik, who continues to doze off. The king orders Sylvia, his competent knight, to test his abilities. Shik dodges her attacks impressively. The king is convinced that Shik is a talented adventurer. The king has already sent people of his own to inspect the battlefield. He is convinced that they won since they returned in one piece. The king emphasizes that they've done some great work on his behalf, which is why he wants to greet them with a reward. Yuki's only thought of a reward is receiving a kiss from Cecilia. In a moment of suddenness, he blurts out to the king that he wants to date Cecilia. The idiot realizes that he leaked his intrusive thoughts without thinking twice.